Hey, Mystic Magic Podcast fans. We are here for another wonderful episode. Today, my guest is Petia Kolibova, and she is a women's transformation coach who helps women who've been pushed down and been playing it small because of toxic relationships or unhealed childhood trauma. She helps women to create a life that's true to them and that is in alignment with their soul purpose. Her mission is to help women who are on the path to healing from past wounds move through their limiting beliefs and internal blocks so they can finally do what they want to do and do what feels good to them and serve other women in a powerful way online. Petia pairs feminine flow with strategic planning to give entrepreneurs immense clarity and exact steps to transition from side hustler to CEO. I love that. I know that she's a serious businesswoman from the way she handles her business and the way that I've heard her on another podcast. Welcome, Petia. Welcome to
Thank you
Mystic
so much
Magic.
for having me, Celeste. So excited to be here.
Good. Me too. So what I gather from kind of looking at your background and stuff, that you kind of been motivated based on your own background of not really getting the kind of love that you deserve. Do you want to talk about what your path has been?
Absolutely. And I feel that, first of all, I want to acknowledge you for doing the homework and really looking into who you're speaking to. That's beautiful. Thank you so much for honoring me. And I feel that when we share our journey and where we were, we really connect with people on such a deeper level because it's so easy to look at people where we are today, right? And it's so easy to see like, oh, she just married the love of her life. She has a podcast and TV show and moving to live in Tulum and working only with clients that she loves. But that's not who I were. I grew up in a very small town back in Europe, center of the Europe, Czech Republic. And my stepfather was physically and mentally abusive, which led me to think that I'm unworthy and unlovable. And that led to toxic relationship, looking for a love in all the wrong places, eating disorder, attempt of suicide, hurting myself and my body because I really believed what people were telling me about me, when I was growing up. So that's why I am so passionate now, helping women to align with who they really are and their purpose and to learn to trust themselves versus trusting what the world is telling them about them. Because I feel like that's the biggest freedom we can really experience, the liberation of being yourself unapologetically and truly knowing that you are enough.
Yeah, and I also noticed that you used the perfect healing guru, Louise Hay, who I loved and just so grateful for the work that she has done, because we know her background has been probably most prominently in helping people with AIDS to really move into more self-love. What was your experience of discovering Louise Hay and how did she factor into your healing process?
Like you said, she is such a beautiful, beautiful being. I feel like she literally saved my life because when I was in my dark moments of my life, when I was around 28, I was coming into a place that I was really depressed and I was thinking about suicide again. And if you fail the first time, you know how to do it the second time, let me tell you. So I knew that something has to change and I started to look online and a decade ago it wasn't as easy as now. There were not so many podcasts and coaches and Instagram, Facebook, everybody's talking more openly. Back then I was just looking at Google and YouTube how to overcome suicidal thoughts, how to be happy, how to stop eating disorder. And what it led me this search into was finding Louise Hay and her videos about affirmations and positive thinking and self-love. And back then it truly saved my life because instead of listening to my inner critic and the negative thoughts that I was hearing about myself, I started to listen to her and Wayne Dyer and Joe Dispenza and Tony Robbins. Like these people became my online mentors who gave me what I needed the most back then. And what I needed the most was hope that it can get better.
Well, Louise Hay comes from our background. She's a new thought person. And so what we do at Mystic Magic is look at how our spirits are really supporting us. Now, did you get into doing affirmations? Are you still doing them? And what have you noticed about the shift that you have when you use those spiritual tools?
You know, it's fascinating because when I feel like Lois, she explains it so beautifully, because there are positive affirmations, and if you don't believe them, if they're not believable, they will be just the words that you will say, but they want to make any impact. And she said back then, you know, go to the mirror and say I love you, and I couldn't, because I didn't love myself. I didn't even like myself, you know. So she guided me and said that you can just say I'm willing and open to accept myself. And that's something that I truly love about her, because it's not just giving you positive affirmations, but giving you tools on how to create believable affirmations. So I am still currently using affirmations, not on daily basis, but when I'm really focusing on something, I am shifting the words into the ways that I can believe them, I can feel them and embody them. So I feel like affirmations are very positive. Again, you get to learn how to create your own that you can believe. You cannot say like I'm a millionaire and you don't have money for paying the rent, right? It's your subconscious mind will be like, well, that's not true. What are you talking about? But maybe like I am always taken care of. I'm always guided. I always figure it out things. So saying things that you can believe, it's truly going to change your life, because it's going to change how we are feeling, and how we are feeling is going to determine the thoughts we have, and those will determine the actions that we are taking and results we are getting. So it's really like this beautiful ripple effect.
Yeah, I think the main part that makes it effective is that Louise looks at the false belief that we have about ourselves, the limiting beliefs that we have about ourselves, the horrible self-talk that we're giving ourselves, and then just goes to the absolute opposite and says, okay, this is the truth about you. So good for you helping women with this. Do you also work with men?
No.
Okay. All right. So that's fine. But look, we have been suppressed, even though we're the most powerful creatures on the planet. So it's important to restore that sense of power to women. You left the corporate world. I think you must have a lot of moxie. You must have a lot of boldness and bravery and courage to take the steps that you've taken to really take your life back. Can you talk to me about what that took for you to make such drastic changes in your life?
You know, it's fascinating because many people call me like courageous and brave, you know, and sometimes I look back at my life, I'm like, it sometimes feels more like a crazy instead of like brave, you know. But for me, I always had this inner feeling there must be more. There must be more, and I'm not living it. The suffocating feeling that you are not living your truth and that you are living for other people, whether it's in corporate or in relationships. So I feel like I was always guided. And when I didn't listen, I was just kicked, you know, like we're moving unexpectedly to Mexico, and that was kick, you know, for me from the universe. When I left corporate, it was kick, you know, for me from the universe, because I kept like putting myself down, you know, in a way like, who am I to leave? Who am I to have my own business? And it's just like, the universe, God, whatever you believe, always leaves the breadcrumbs for you.
Yes.
So you will either listen or it will nudge you. If you don't listen to the nudge, it will kick you and it will just guide you to the next step. So we really get to start being radically honest with ourselves. I was in a corporate, and when I started to work there, I absolutely loved my job, but the company grows so quickly that they hire people who didn't care, who came just for a paycheck. I'm just not that kind of person. I care, and I care very deeply, and I just care too much. And I had too many opinions that people didn't like, you know, and I just got fired. So I didn't plan for it. And now I'm helping women to plan for it so it doesn't happen with them the same way. Because when I left, I didn't have no saving. I didn't have any plan B. I had back then I started my social media marketing agency, and I had 2 clients, which back then, with my sense of no worthiness, it didn't even cover my basic bills. It wouldn't, like, it was just really like so low. And so the universe really guided me on everything, every single step of the way. And every single one of us is guided. You just get to start listening what feels right and true to you.
Yes. And what I know is that there's usually a moment that you can recall that you made that shift in a way because it felt like there was something that you could trust. Does that moment come to mind for you, Petia?
It's a great question, and I feel like, with Louise Hay and starting my spiritual and personal development, then there was like a very clear moment when I was on my knees and just really crying and just said, like, something has to change, because if not, I don't want to live like this. But with leaving corporate, starting my own business, I feel it was like progressive feelings, like things that were happening, that I started seeing, like how I was treated, how I was spoke to, finding out that my husband was cheating on me, so like filing for divorce and all these things. So I feel like these things were just progressive and just nudges, and I was acting upon them because I just knew that this can't be it. Just settling
Right.
in a relationship that you're not respected, settling in a job that you are not appreciated. It can be it. There must be more in life.
Now, I want to give you some credit because I'm sure that there is something in you that was able to trust and to have faith, and that's something that you can't teach anyone. That's something that you have to have for yourself. Like, did you have a sense when you were growing up, even in the midst of all of the trauma and the violence, that you were here to help people?
It's interesting. I never thought about me helping people, because I was always thinking I cannot even help myself, right? So when
Okay,
I was in
okay.
the middle of that, I didn't see myself as helping people, but I always knew I'm meant for more. That was like the driving force. Like, I'm meant for more than what I'm experiencing and living. And I'm just not going to settle on this. I can't. Like, I would rather not to live than live a life like that, in abuse and just following all the rules. I follow all the rules that I thought that I'm supposed to be following, and yet I wasn't happy, healthy, or fulfilled. So those rules were not for me.
Well, that makes you the perfect person to be able to help people who need to remember who they truly are. And so tell us about some of the programs that you do so our international audience can participate and find you online.
It's a beautiful question. Thank you so much. And what I really love doing, it's in person, which nowadays it can seem a little bit challenging. Not everybody it's open to traveling. We're moving to Tulum, so the next event that I'm hosting, it's on 11/11. November 11th in Tulum.
Mhm.
We are hosting a retreat that is for men and women, because my husband is a coach and he coaches men, so we have it divided at home. And so that is for men and women, and that's the next thing that I'm doing. But otherwise, I'm focusing really on working with women one-on-one. I feel like that's where the real transformations really happened. And for those who are not ready yet to work with a mentor one-on-one, I have a beautiful course that is mini course on unapologetically worthy, on how to discover your worthiness and build a really strong foundation of self-love and worthiness. Or for those who want to deepen their relationship with money, I have a course about abundance and money. So it's really, those two things that I'm really focused on: abundance and worthiness.
Well, I know that you have, your programs. Do you also have products that you sell? Like, do you have something that's a course that people can buy online? What is there that they can go to if they can't get to you in person?
Those two courses that I just mentioned are online courses: the unapologetically worthy, about worthiness, and
Okay.
then my money course. So those two courses are online.
Okay. And so your website is Petia Kolibova?
Yes.
Okay, is that .com?
Yes.
All right, great. So
Maybe.
we know how to find you. I'm just glad that you had a few minutes to be with us on Mystic Magic. So we know there's a lifeline, another lifeline that's out there that's spiritually motivated and yet very practically applied. And so we do want to make those connections and to know that we can celebrate our worthiness because we're made out of good stuff. And I just want to say thanks for coming to Mystic Magic.
Thank you so much for having me. What an honor.
This is Mystic Magic, exploring our spirit to understand our lives.